everyone, this is Meg at Chasing Retro. I am so happy to be back with you here today. I've been quiet for the past few days, and not just on YouTube. I've had to be quiet all the time because I had laryngitis. I have not had laryngitis in probably 20 years. But I actually ended up getting like a throat irritation that turned into laryngitis and then turned into croup. So I had no idea that adults could get croup, but they can. And I have late onset asthma, and so I think I'm more susceptible to that. So I had to go back and try to remember everything that I knew about croup, both from having it as a child and when our daughter had it a lot as a child. And she also has asthma, so that's interesting. I don't know if there's a correlation between all of that or not, but I am happy to be back here with you today. I'm not going to do a lot of talking today because the more I do talk, the more tired my voice gets. But I wanted to get on and show you a few of the magazines that I found in front of an antique shop near me a couple of weeks ago. So I promised that I would show those to y'all, and I am going to deliver. But first I wanted to show the progress of the 3 tropical/Hawaii journals. Can't fit them all in the frame. We have 1 single signature soft cover and 2 signature hardcovers, and they all have their pages as of last night. And today I will be going through and adding the things that I need to sew on before the signatures are sewn in. And then I will decorate them. So as with all of my other journals, unless I specify, if you would like to reserve a journal for yourself, if you see one that I'm working on that's coming along and you really would like to have that one and reserve it, and put your name on it as the person who definitely wants to buy that one, please let me know. The best way to do that, because I don't always see YouTube comments that come through and need time, time-sensitive responses, just email me at the email address. It's gatory7@gmail.com, and I will be sure to work with you on that if you see one that you'd like to reserve. So I just wanted to show this to you briefly. Maybe in going through these magazines today, I'll find a few more images that I can add. So the first 2 things I'll show you are not magazines. They are trims, or I guess you would call this one a yarn, but I'm going to use it as a trim. So the antique store that I love to frequent near my home is the lady who runs it is, I think she majored in textiles, and she's an expert weaver. I don't really know what all the words are, but she knows how to run a loom and make rugs and blankets and all of that. So she has a lot of back stock of yarns, really high quality specialty yarns. Well, I don't know how to knit, crochet, or weave, or any of that. But she did have 2 sitting out on the table that she was getting rid of that were $1 each. I'm serious, y'all, $1 for all of this. That were actually trim. So I got these 2. This is a beautiful, I'm assuming the dye is, the yarn might have some wool or something in it, because it has, the dye is not uniform. There's some white in here, but this is a beautiful aqua color, and this is the kind where you would cut the string off and create a fringe. The outside is rather dirty, but as you can see, there's lots of layers to dig down into. These 2 things just screamed 1950s to me. So this is a beautiful, it's very soft. It's sort of a, I don't know, a scallop look to it. And then I just thought it would be cute, both glued down, sewn down, and possibly even pulled through the hole of a tag. Okay, so sitting on the table of magazines that she wanted to get rid of were magazines that were highly desirable by me and many other people, I'm sure, but very infrequently seen, especially for a good price. So when I saw them, y'all are always kind of like picking on me because I like to leave something for someone else who comes after me. Well, I did the same thing this time. I did leave some, but I actually took more than I normally would have this time because we were talking to the owner and she said, anything that's not gone by the end of the weekend, I'm going to throw away. And I don't have endless space to store stuff, but it kills me to think about some of these things being thrown away. So I got as many as me and my husband could physically carry. And of course, large old magazines are very heavy. So I think I ended up with 17 different magazines. I'm not going to flip through all of them. I'll flip through a select few because some of them are just unusual. But McCall's is one that you do see more often. This is February 1954. And they're a little dusty and musty, but not bad. Overall, they're in great condition. This is very similar to a Tide ad that I have hanging in my laundry room. It's funny. Look at those shelf liners. You know, we junk journalers look for these shelf liners. She's got them in her laundry closet. But yeah, for the most part, a lot of these had very James Stewart. I love the Glenn Miller story. Very, very bright, colorful pictures. I can do things with the black and whites as well. They look beautiful, you know, glued and then sewn down to a really pretty pink or aqua cardstock. You can also use, very carefully, you can use alcohol art markers to sort of tint a black and white photograph. You can do it realistically if you're an artist and know what you're doing, or you can do it just kind of like highlights, you know, make her shirt blue, make her shoes pink, whatever. But yeah, this is just absolutely gorgeous. Very excited about this, of course. I'm sure all of you will agree with me that this was probably my find of the summer. The thing that was unusual that sort of made me, in fact, I will insert a picture of me right now, the way that I looked when my husband, so basically he was going on a walk and he walked around our downtown area, and when he saw these, at first he just saw the yarn, and so he said, you may want to come look at this yarn, and then he called back and said, you may want to hurry as fast as you can and get here. I've got some magazines for you, but I don't know how many I can hold. So I literally jumped in the car, and when I hopped out and looked at what he was showing or describing, this is what my face looked like. So yeah, it was excitement, but it was also like I just literally could not believe it. I was dumbfounded. I just kind of stood there. But these are 17 magazines from the 50s. I did not know 17 magazine was around that long. These are absolutely beautiful. The colors in here, I'm going to see if I can back it out just a little for y'all. There, that's a little bit better. Look at that, the Revlon red. Signature Revlon red. I think it's funny too that they're advertising spoons, like silverware, in a 17 magazine. I know women did get married earlier back then, but I think that's really funny. I don't think I was thinking about spoons when I was 17. Or engagement rings. Oh goodness, here's more spoons. Look at this, the little football guy. But yeah, have y'all ever seen a 17 magazine this old? Do you have one? Did your mom or your grandma talk about reading these? I remember my mom was not a huge fan of me reading them. In fact, I was never allowed to subscribe to them. The ones that I did have, they were kind of cast off from some of my friends. they would give me their back issues, and I didn't read them as much as I used them for cutting up and doing collages. I used to love to make huge collage posters that I would hang in my room. More spoons, y'all. I love the little pajama ads. I've told y'all that I'm gonna do a like 50s beauty shop slash hair slash sleepover type pajama set journal at some point. That looks like Julie Andrews. I don't know if it is, but oh look, penny loafers. My mom talked about these a lot, and then they came back in style in the late 80s. Ooh, look at this. They've already colorized it. It's black and white, and they added the red. That's cool. Lots of lingerie ads. You're old enough to know that the difference between being dressed and being well dressed lies in attention to detail. Well, that is still very true. Some things never change. Look at these perfumes, the perfumes of the year. Also, I've noticed that people don't wear coats like this anymore, really, unless they're like going somewhere really nice. Now everybody wears jackets. At least where I live. We don't live where it's, you know, sub-zero or anything, but I have a few long coats like this that I do. I wear them to church. But yeah, they don't really look great with like jeans and a t-shirt, so I guess that's why we don't do that anymore. Unless we're dressed up underneath. That's fun. Okay, they're talking about trousseaus. Putting things in your hope chest, which is awesome. My grandma did that, and I have her hope chest now. I store my sweaters in it in the summer. Pond's cold cream. Y'all, I still use this to take my makeup off. It's still around. It does not smell as good as it used to. I remember my mom kissing me goodnight when I was a little girl, and I would love to smell her face because it smelled like Pond's. And I just feel like that the smell is not nearly, it's sort of weak compared to what it used to be. Little Mary Jane type shoes there. These pages literally don't look like they've ever been told. Well, I'll say that. Somebody cut an ad out. But they literally don't feel like they've been read. The pages are hardly even crimped at all. Beautiful Coke ad on the back. So I'll just go through and show you some of the covers. And we'll flip through a couple more that are, you know, unique and interesting. This one is so pretty. The red and white. Judy Bond. Oh my goodness. So my daughter and I were at a thrift store recently, and she found a Judy Bond blouse and bought it, and she wears it. It's not this old, but that company's been around for a long time. So a lot of the magazines are printed in a way where the print, especially the color, is just not real crisp. But the thing I noticed about these is the quality of the print is very high. That surprised me about the 17 magazine. But there's nothing worse than like trying to put a picture in your junk journal and it looks like it's out of focus. Lady Levi's shoes. Okay. This might be why I made that face when I walked up, because this is one of the first ones that I saw. At first, I thought it was a sewing pattern counter catalog, but it's not. It's the spring pattern book. So it was probably something that you could subscribe to, and they would show you the patterns that will be coming out in your fabric stores in the spring. But you know what? I feel like I'm one step closer to finding a sewing counter catalog, because I never thought I would find one of these either. And I'm excited about this. So there's still hope. Some of the, some of these look a lot like the sewing pattern counter. Look at that. Oh my goodness. I mean, here's the thing about large magazines. I don't want to, I want to preserve as much of it as possible. I want to preserve the beauty and put these into a journal. Get every square inch as much as I can out of it, so that I can get the feel of the beauty of the magazine without having to cut and toss away too much of it. And for those who say, oh, please don't cut magazines up, it is not my desire to just start cutting into magazines. Sometimes I'll hold on to something for like a year before I even touch it. And I might do that this time too. But it has to be, I have to know exactly what I'm doing with it and where it's going to go and how it's going to be used before I'll even think about getting my scissors out. And what is the alternative? I mean, if the lady was telling us the truth, and I'm sure she was, these were probably on the way to a trash can, because they had already sat out a couple of days and no one had gotten them. So I feel like that I'm preserving them and giving them new life, and actually like a new way to be used. I just want to make sure I do it well. Like, I can use this in a junk journal. I'm a little bit concerned about how I would use this. Now, I know that there are several makers who do a really good job of large magazine images. Lee Min on Lace Covered Skies is one of them. And Shabby Dabby Doodah is another one. She uses large book images, but that translates. But if you guys have any makers or videos that you could recommend on how to do that effectively, please let me know. And I'm not just talking about how to make a page in a journal, but how to create ephemera using some of this stuff. Okay. They had a lot of Saturday evening posts, which, as you know, has these Norman Rockwell paintings for the most part. It may be how he became famous. But, yeah, so a lot of these aren't as interesting. The ads are a little more common, except for that one. That is amazing. That will have to go in my summer journals. But, like this one, this image is just a little bit pixelated. It's really cool, but it's not as in focus as I'd like. This one is 1960. Look at that dodge. So I thought about putting some of these in my shop, sharing a few, but shipping will be a little bit of a challenge. I don't have any poly mailers at the moment that are this large, and I really don't want to mail them rolled up or anything like that. So if you see, I don't know that I'll be able to get rid of the 17s, but if you see any of these Saturday evening posts that look like something that you might like, send me an email. We can chat. But yeah, I'm really not sure. Not sure what I'm going to do about that yet. This is really pretty too. They are going down a stream with floats. Very pretty. Look at that. Amazing. Oh yeah, pineapple. I don't really need anything else for my tropical journals, but I do have a lot of pineapple desserts in them. Here's another 17. This one's 1955, and it's very thick, probably because it's a summer issue. So they know the girls are out of school, probably starting on some sewing projects, maybe getting married. March 1952. Look at the lighting on her. Stunning. Another Coke. I had never heard of this magazine. Let me know if you guys have heard of it. Holiday. I got this one because it's about Scotland. But it's also very, very large. But yeah, it's just, I think it's just a travel magazine. So again, for tropical journals and or a travel journal, I have not actually made a quote travel journal ever, but as soon as I'm done with the tropical journals, I will be moving on to retro childhood summer journals, and I'm going to include a little bit about like family vacations, you know, mom and dad, kids in the car, hotels, things like that. So some of these images might work too. Transistor radios. And then we've got some articles in the middle. Here's some photo slides. Oh, here's Hawaii again. Hawaii was the place to go, evidently, for a couple of decades. Sun Valley. There's a song about Sun Valley. I've heard of this shoe brand. That's interesting. Australian Airline. Never heard of that. Okay, so Holiday Magazine. 17. Look at that. Beautiful. April 55, 17. I see the Brick shampoo a lot. Coke. Prom weekend. Are you uninvited? Uh-oh. Look at that. Pulling on her ear. So funny. Betty Barkley. I've heard about that brand. Sea Nymph. Oh my goodness. I'll have to see if I can put some of these images in my journals. I'm running out of room though, y'all. These journals are going to be definitely full to the brim. Excuse me. All right, I picked this one up for my dad because he's a huge John Wayne fan. No, I do see these magazines a lot. Look, I think it's like a celebrity tabloid type magazine. So, yeah, I had to grab that one for him. And then here's another one that they had several of. I only got one or two because the thing that I have most in my stash is vintage magazines about home. So I didn't really want to take too many of those. I saw this and purchased one of these in a thrift store. It's a wool blanket with a satin trim that has printed flowers. We actually used it this winter. There it is, brand new. But yeah, these are pretty much like Better Homes and Gardens. What year was this? 60. Yeah, 1960. The Subtle Art of Salad Dressings. My husband was reading this article when I drove up. Take a pound of bacon. Okay. Look at this. Oh my. This is a fave. Love it. Oh, that's creative. The paintbrush goes across. I love it. I think it would have been fun to be into like magazine layout design in this time period. These little pull-out ads are so fun too to tuck into journals. I'll have to go through and just take all those out. This is a summertime picture. Look at that fringed umbrella. I wish it was in color. This floor, okay. So I have a funny story about these little tiles. I think it was left over from when my grandparents were building their house in the mid to late 60s. They had a box of Armstrong tiles. This is not Armstrong, this is Ken tile. And it was an old cardboard box. And I guess when they were done building, they decided, well, the kids could probably play with these. And they were just samples. It was like a small shoe box, and it was filled with all these samples. Well, we used to use them. We laid them down on my grandparents' rug, and we would pave our roads for our cars that we would drive around on the floor. And I remember at one weekend, my aunt was visiting, and she started looking at them and reading the backs of them. And she was like, we're gonna need to take some of these out of the box, and y'all can't play with these anymore. And we're like, why? And she was like picking them out and putting them in a stack. And I'm like, no, those are the prettiest ones, because she was getting some of the pink ones and stuff. And I was like, what are you doing? And she showed my grandma, and my grandma was like, oh my goodness. And on the back it said something like, contains 25% asbestos. So that might explain a lot about Meg. I used to play with asbestos as a child. We laugh about that all the time. My cousins and I are always like, hey, remember when we used to make little roads out of asbestos? You know what? What doesn't kill us make us stronger, right? I didn't really think about asbestos again until my husband and I were trying to buy a house, and we wanted an older home, and we were looking at homes from the 30s, and so many of them needed like outdoor facelifts, but they had the asbestos shingles, and it was just not, we were like, we can't afford to hire someone with the mitigation and all that. So we ended up getting a house that had already had that all done. It was a little bit of a relief that we didn't have to deal with that. I love it. Oh, look at this. This is a perfect little ad for a family summer journal. Little hotel with a pool for the kiddos. I love these old ads. That's bronze 10. That was before we knew everything we know now about the sun and cigarettes. Okay. That's a really pretty cover. It's very striking. Here's one more living magazine. Beautiful. I loved it. I mainly got this one because the cover was so pretty. But yeah, just another, you know, there's a Monstera. If you're just, you know, starting out with your new home. I think this magazine says for young homemakers. So these were the baby boomers who were setting up their houses. And then after we got all of our stuff and took it inside to the counter, she said, I've got so much more stuff in the back. Would you just like to come back there and look around? And I looked at my husband like, can I? And he was like, just a few more things, but don't go crazy. And I was like, okay. Well, I found a few more things. And I actually gave her my phone number. I said, before you throw anything away, if you just want to sell the rest of it as a lot, please give me a call. I will see what I can do. I will find people to help me help you. This is like a little, almost like a little child development packet. I don't know if it's tied to church at all. It says Fortress Press. It might just be more of a, like, I keep thinking maybe like Lamaze class or something, like your child year by year. Or maybe you got these at the pediatrician. I don't know. If y'all know anything about these parents packets, let me know. Then she had a whole bunch of these little Sunday school quarterlies, or like the little sheets that you would put into your quarterly binder. Christian Growth Series. These look a lot like the little, I bought some books at a yard sale recently that looked like this, the same type of illustrations. And I use them a lot in my book, in my journals. Aw. So this is a bulletin, I think. Nope. I thought I picked up a bulletin. This is not a bulletin. Lutheran home at Topton. This might be an orphanage or something. A children's home. Maybe that's where all this came from. I don't know. This looks like a bulletin. Yes, it is. Ooh, a green mimeograph. 1951, Grace Evangelistic, maybe? Lutheran Church, Lancaster, or Lancaster. How do y'all say it in Pennsylvania? We say Lancaster here, but I know Pennsylvania might be different. Interesting. Yep, just beautiful pictures. This one's been colored. Isn't that cute? I think I got all of these for 50 cents or $1. I found this little Denison party book. Let's have a party. And it's in very, very good condition. Teen scene. Circus party. Flying saucer to the moon. I don't know why there's a skeleton in that one. That's a little odd. I mean, this is before, yeah, this is 10 years before the moon landing, so maybe we still had a lot of unknowns. Salute to Mom, but it looks Hawaiian. Father and son night. I like those donuts on the skewer. That's, we should have that for mom-daughter night too. Crepe paper ruffles. I love working with crepe paper in journals. This is 1001 Decorating Ideas, 1967, and it's just what it sounds like. Just beautiful loveliness. Even the black and white pictures are just amazing. See, I would cut this chair out and I would put one of my sewing pattern ladies in front of it. A Cosmopolitan, y'all, 1956. Mostly stories. I didn't realize how much of these magazines were like installment stories. Most of it is actually, over half. Glamour, 1958. It says how Marilyn Monroe took London, but that doesn't look like her. I don't think this is her. I think this is going with that. That's some nice two cards. Not as many color pictures in here, which is interesting. That's okay though. That wing-tipped eyeliner is getting me. There's Marilyn. Oh yeah, I like these dresses. That's not a dress, that's a robe. Pretty though. Yeah, I really wish there were more color, but you kind of get the idea. This is an advanced pattern book. Now I think advanced patterns are not based in America. Aren't they like Australian? So I was very surprised to see this. But this is not a counter catalog. Again, this is just another, I guess, preview magazine. But still. When I started watching Diane on Pretty Pink Cottage, she's doing 50s. She may have actually just finished, or maybe she's close to being finished. She's doing 50s fashion journals right now. When I got home and started looking through these, I was like, oh, if she doesn't have this kind of stuff as her supply, she needs some of it. Let me know, Diane, did you have any of these magazine titles in your stash when you made those? They are gorgeous. I love 50s fashion so much because of the full skirts. That's probably my favorite part of the 50s fashion, is those skirts. Yeah, amazing. And one more, it's called this is a glamour again, and this is the one that's not a lot of color, but oh, look at that dreamy nightgown, I guess. So more than thrilled, obviously, with, I'm so glad my husband decided to go on a walk that day. It was too hot and I didn't want to go with him, but he quickly called me when he got there. The last thing that I got was this. I have never heard of these. I bought these sight unseen because I didn't want to ask her if I could unwrap them. She said she had just gotten these in from an estate, so she didn't want to mark the price down at all. And I was more than happy to pay $10 after everything else that she let me have at a very discounted rate. So let's look at these together. Have y'all heard of Quick magazine before? I have not. I didn't know they had magazines this little. I don't know what to expect. It may be like real thin, not very exciting paper. Okay, that's better than I thought it was going to be. I thought they were going to feel like work basket, but the pages are actually, well, you know, they're not that newspaper print. It's more of a magazine paper. Now, I will definitely be putting some of these in my shop. So if you would like to have some of these for junk journaling, interesting, not very often seen fodder for junk journaling supplies, be watching my shop this week. Okay. Wonder why they're wrapped in 2 stacks. Corinne Calvert. Never heard of you. Rosemary Clooney. I have heard of you. Gregory Peck. Ooh, I wonder if there is a Katharine Hepburn in here. I would die. Oh my goodness. Well, there's Eisenhower. Okay, so let's just pick one and flip through it because, oh, there's Lucy. Just the covers are so beautiful. They would make beautiful tuck spots or journaling cards. I mean, I am just blown away. I cannot believe I got these. Okay. So what is the essence of Quick magazine? It doesn't really say. Well, okay, wait a minute. It says International and Pan-American Copyright Conventions. Was this possibly a magazine that would be on an airplane? Isn't that Pan-American? They are American. At first when I saw them, I thought maybe they were British or something. Well, they're ripping pretty easy. I have to be careful. So we've got some, there's this picture of Stalin. That's not pleasant. We've got some, you know, military and politics at the beginning, and then world news. And then there's Queen Elizabeth. Picture of the week. This is England, but I don't think that means they're English. Let's see. A lot of this is European stuff though, so I'm stumped. That's Louisiana, Honolulu. Hawaii is tired of waiting at the church for statehood. That's interesting. Not a lot of color images, but just, I think all of them have a big ad in the center, which is cool. You have some Butterfingers. Animals, crime. It's like a little, it's like BuzzFeed. All the categories that you could want in a little tight, small, easily digestible format that may or may be slightly tabloid-like. Books, business, education. Steel mills. Sports. They're advertising Look magazine. Maybe they're tied. Predictions on what will happen in Congress. A quiz. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna have to this guy's British and said he reads it every day and it keeps me up on the news. So I don't know. I'll have to research this. This has me intrigued. I still think they're worth $10. But yeah, let me know what y'all think about this haul. What was the coolest thing? What would you have made that face for that I made at the beginning of the video? I'm surprised I didn't just flat out pass out on the sidewalk. But I appreciate all of you for being here and being patient with me as I try to get my voice back and get my energy back so I can get back to making and creating. I hope all of you have a lovely weekend.